Last night I opened a door to the fourth dimension. It cannot be closed, and nothing will ever be the same. Okay, so this is the interdimensional astral travel report for Thursday, October 16th. Yesterday, Wednesday, October 15th, we did a live guided interdimensional meditation. We do these every Wednesday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, live streamed. You can go to the live section and watch any of them, follow along. So if you want to, go ahead and go back and do the one that we just did. In any case, this was, I'm sounding like a broken record. This was perhaps the most powerful meditation. Was just crazy powerful. And in fact, I had a hard time sleeping last night. I had a hard time winding down. There was so much power flowing through me, and my head was I was in another place. So I had been busy. As you can see, I'm in a different location right now because the house that I rent, it's a seasonal rental, and the owner comes back a couple times a year to spend a couple weeks. So I'm down around the block down the street in another place for next couple of weeks. So I was busy grabbing all my stuff and moving to this location. And so when we did the meditation, I didn't have any knowledge of what was going to happen. I don't always, but excuse me, sometimes the light beings will show up and they will either just let me know that they're ready. They get very excited for these meditations, I have to tell you. And they'll either show up and let me know that, they'll jolt me with energy to let me know that they're here. Sometimes they will, they'll text me, which is I'll get a huge energy jolt in my middle dantian, which means that they're wanting to talk. So I will go and talk with them, and sometimes they just tell me, hey, there's a big meditation coming, it's going to be amazing. Or sometimes they tell me what's going to happen, or here's what we would like you to do. Or sometimes they're just, hey, we're here, we're so excited to be a part of this. They really are, I have to tell you. And so I didn't have a chance to do that because I was rushing around, and I literally just kind of sat down to do the meditation. I could feel the light beings were around, so I knew that it was going to be something. But something was going to happen. But as soon as I closed my eyes and we started warming up and getting ready for the meditation, I had a pretty good idea what we were going to do. I saw in my mind what we were going to do, and as you remember, I don't remember everything that happened. By the way, please put in the comments again. It blows my mind. Hundreds of people will watch these videos and I'll get 3 or 4 comments. I need you to comment about what your experience was in this meditation. Tell me, fill in the blanks, because I'm going to not remember everything, because I go off and I channel them, and it's not that that I'm off in another place, but it doesn't necessarily get logged in. I don't remember it. I'm in such a higher frequency. So tell me what happened, what you saw, what your experience was. What am I missing? Fill in the blanks. It's important that we share our experience because we're creating a new consensus of reality. And the more that we share with each other what we saw and what we experienced, because what happens is people get isolated and they think they're making it up. And that's, you've got a reality within you. You've got a quantum probability now that's taking shape within you, and you're keeping it inside. You've got 2 people who are sharing the same alternate quantum probability inside of the 3rd dimension. And when they come together and share, it creates a new probability reality that starts growing and growing. If you want to shift to higher dimensions, this is one of the ways to do it. We shift the entire world this way. So share your experience. Anyway, so I had a pretty good idea what we were going to do. I knew that they were going to work on the three dantians, what Mao Shan called the 3 ones. And we've talked about that and worked on that. I teach it in the thunderwizard.com lightning qigong. I talk a lot about that. So what I remember is I felt very strongly what we were going to do. I knew it was going to be powerful. And I had the feeling that the best way to go about it would be to do typical CE5 protocol, where we imagine ourselves coming out of our body, rising up out of Earth's three-dimensional matrix, and that then we would go ahead and do that, work together, connecting to the 3 ones. So you know how this works is that it's macrocosmic and microcosmic. Each human being is a holographic projection of the source. Every one of you is a holographic projection of God. So when you meditate on the 3 ones and you imagine that you are aligning your 3 dantians with the 3 trinities, the 3 pure ones, the trinity of the multiverse. When you imagine that you are aligning yours with that, what is happening is that you are aligning the microcosmic and the macrocosmic. And when there is no separation between the two, that's when you become an immortal. This is the goal of Taoists. Taoists are not trying to become enlightened. They're not trying to become saved. They're not trying to become purified. They are seeking to unify the macrocosmic and the microcosmic. And so that's what was happening last night. So as we were going out there, I knew that that's what was going to happen. I could see in my mind's eye that the 3 ones were aligning themselves out in what we experience as space. And so I brought us out there, and I believe the reason for that was so that we wouldn't get all tied up with the 3rd dimensional matrix and karma and our programming and our history of who we think we are in this video game, etc., etc. So we got out there, and man, the power, speaking for myself, the power was off the charts. And so I saw like this light, not like a dark purple, but a light purple light out in space. I thought that we were going to go through a portal, as we have many times before. That's not what happened. At least that's not what I remember. If you remember differently, I could be wrong. Put it in the comments. And then what I remember was that from this lightly shaded purple light came the 3 dantians, the 3 macrocosmic. And so the way that they presented themselves was, of course, the top one. Actually, I first saw them in a line. I saw them in a horizontal line, and then they aligned themselves vertically. And the top one was, of course, a dark purple. The center one was a ruby red, electric red, sphere in the center, and then at the bottom was a white light. Now, traditionally, 2,000 years ago, they saw the lower dantian as yellow. That, for me, has shifted since we started going through this shift, which this dimensional shift that we started going through in 2022. That light turned to white. So that's what I saw. And then I got the message that, and I think I channeled it, that what we were about to experience was incredibly powerful, and anybody who was lucky enough to be part of this meditation was extremely privileged, and what you were going to experience was going to be something that would be a pivotal, shifting moment in your life from that time forward, and you'd remember it forever. Anyway, that's what I channeled, that's what I remember. And then, so we started aligning ourselves, and I remember the high Dantian purple one came in like a laser beam. That purple light went, and it felt like that. It felt like, a laser beam had cut through my third eye, went back here to my pineal gland, and it was just. And sometime later, wasn't right away, sometime later, that then shot up out the top of the head, out of the crown, and it went up into, now that I'm remembering, it went up seemingly into higher dimensions, and then it hit a mirror. So the mirror was, pointed this way, so that came out like this and then shot up like that, and it went off into infinity. And then the way I remember it, you can tell me if there was something else that happened, but the way I remember it was, I realized that was the actual fourth dimension. So to understand, people completely misunderstand the word dimensions. They conflate it with densities, which is a made-up nonsense word that was made up by the people who, I believe they were sincere. They were trying to channel extraterrestrials and the law of one and the teachings of Ra. But I'm here to tell you, not only from personal experience, astral experience, I'm here to tell you that that book is nonsense. Generally speaking, the law of one, where we are all one and we are unified, that is true, but every religion teaches that on some level. When they get down into the specifics of it, they completely, totally, it's just nonsense. And I believe that the people who did it were sincere, but anyway, I won't get into it. They were sincere, but it was just their own unconscious projections. So the fourth dimension, I'm trying to tell you the difference between a dimension and a density. So this term, the fourth dimension, is thrown around a lot. What's his name? David Icke says they came from the fourth dimension. And I can guarantee you, David Icke doesn't know what a dimension is. Dimension is not another world. So when we talk about alternate universes, that's what most people mean when they say alternate dimensions. An alternate universe is an alternate third dimensional universe. That's all it is. There might be different things going on, assuming they exist, but it's still third dimensions. Dimensions means what it says. When I go and buy a surfboard, I go and look at what the dimensions are. And it talks about length, width, thickness. And so those are the three dimensions. And then I look at that and I know what the dimensions are. And it looks at the liters. That's because we live in the third dimension. There are three aspects, physical dimensions. There's up and down, which is one dimension. There's forward and backward, which is the second dimension. There's left and right, which is the third dimension. Those are the three dimensions that creates a box. So the fourth dimension is a new direction that intersects with those three at a right angle. Now, we can't comprehend that. Our third dimensional mind isn't capable of comprehending it. But it has been theorized by physicists that this new direction would have to be, the best way we would be able to visualize it would be up and forward and down and backward, right? So the four dimensions would be forward and backward, left and right, up and down, forward, up, forward, back. Those would be the 4 dimensions. Got it? It's got nothing to do with alternate universes or densities or the evil beings came from the 4th dimension. It's complete nonsense. When you go up to a higher dimension, meaning from 3 to 4, the energy increases exponentially. The frequency increases upward exponentially. The point I'm trying to make is it's impossible for evil beings to exist in that. The evil beings exist in the 3rd dimension, in the 2nd dimension, alternate 3rd dimensions. They can't exist in the 4th dimension. Because the frequency of evil, separation, isolation, competition, predation, fear, anger, control, those are 3rd dimensional frequencies. They work within that box of the 3rd dimension. Once you get into whatever the 4th dimension is, those don't work. Those emotions, they can't function. It's impossible in the 4th dimension to look at another person and see them as separate from you. It's impossible to look at another person and not actually experience their emotions. So you couldn't harm somebody else, you would immediately feel it. So get rid of that, they came from the 4th dimension. David Icke is wrong. So, point I'm trying to make is what I saw, again, I'm seeing things in my 3rd dimensional mind as we're in these meditations, is doing its best to try and show my 3rd dimensional self what we're experiencing. So that's what I saw. What I felt, is something that doesn't fit into this 3rd dimension. That it was that higher dimensional electromagnetic energy. And of course, my mind was, getting twisted and pulled into all kinds of places that, don't fit here. But there was a part of me that I could feel like if I'm here, there was a part of me that was over here somewhere that's still part of me, a higher dimensional part of me, that was going bananas, absolutely beside himself with glee, that I had tapped into it, that I had actually opened the door and tapped into that 4th dimension and had brought it into our reality. I mean, I was just going bonkers. I was so happy. I remember talking about it. And it didn't stop there. Now, I don't remember the sequence of events, but let's continue with remember we're interacting with the 3-1. So that's what I saw. And that's what happened for me when the upper Dantian aligned with my Dantian, my upper Dantian. Then the middle Dantian, and this was interesting. The red orb, the red light came and it was a different, this was like a laser. This wasn't. It was a red light, and it sort of like diffused out like it was a mist also, and it was more like it was like a kind of energy. And the reason why I came to the conclusion, the reason why that was, is because it was working on getting rid of heart armor. So I'm like any other human. I've got armor from functioning in this growing up in this harsh reality, and so that was softening it. And so the water sort of reminded me of like the feminine, and of course the heart mind, the shin bao, the shi energy, as my teachers called it, the shi energy. That is a feminine energy. So that was what I got from that. It was this, of course, red, and of course it's fiery energy, but it's deeply loving, deeply healing, and it wasn't forcing itself. It was like, if you wanted to hold on to your self-protection mechanisms, it wasn't going to force itself. But so I remember making the decision to make myself vulnerable to it, to surrender to the experience, to surrender to the energy, as if it was a loving, healing, feminine energy that was coming to connect to my heart. That's because that's how it came across to me. So that's what I remember from that. And then the lower Dantian, it was like a spotlight. And it was just coming straight into the navel center. I can't remember what I talked about. I know enough about that to know that it was cleansing and healing, because our lower Dantian is our shamanic lower self. It is our unconscious mind. It's where all of our past life programming is. It's all of our childhood programming, our identity of who we think we are in this video game. And so that was going in and cleansing that. So, you know, in order to be able to really channel power, we have to get rid of our false self. This third dimensional video game, you know, our third dimensional human acts exactly like a video game avatar. It's not real. If you're playing a video game and you create an avatar, it's not you. You can identify with it while you're playing the game, but when you click exit and you put it down, you're not going to identify with that. It's a game. So that's where I felt it's like it's time to do that now. This is just an avatar. You can identify with it when you're playing the game, but we are moving beyond that. We're moving to a place beyond that, and so we need to connect back to the original self, the original identity. So those were those three lights. I can't remember. I believe there was communication that went on, but I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure I know I had to stop and listen to communications that was happening. I told you, communicate with whatever beings I saw. I can't remember what happened, so fill in the blank if you remember something that I don't. But now, okay, so again, I don't remember the order of how this happened. So that's what I remember about the three lights of the three Dantians, the three ones, and merging with them. Or it was really, we were aligning ourselves with them, which is, we were just doing an advanced level, holding the three ones meditation. This is what the original Maoshan Taoists did, and apparently they reportedly achieved immortality, perfection. They shifted from this reality to a higher reality. Just to let you know, we don't even know what happened to the people that came over. So the Maoshan that we are learning, I believe, we don't know this. We try and put it together based on the rumors. This is about 100 years ago that two brothers and a sister, they came to the United States. They came to Hawaii from, I believe, Taiwan, and we don't know that. Definitely southern China, Taiwan. Very likely they were Hakka. And as you know, the Hakka are the original descendants of the Maoshan. The Maoshan were the Han. The Han were, booted out of power, and they had to escape south, and many of them became the Hakka, the strangers. They were foreigners from the northern China going into southern China, and so they came. This was about 100 years ago. They came to Hawaii, and the older brother and the older sister, they took off and went off into the mountains somewhere. That's the legend. And so the guy that was left down there, he became the founder of the practices that I'm teaching. He channeled them, created them. His student then further channeled more and created them. I've been channeling more practices, going laterally. My teacher's teacher, he also kind of went off in his own way, and every single person that's come has improved the practices, depending on what they were looking for in their character and all that. So I'm just here to tell you that what you're experiencing is this original. We're not talking about. I guess why I'm saying this is because I've run into formally trained Taoists with all kinds of titles and monikers, and they really didn't have any idea what the hell they were doing. They knew all of the scriptures, and they knew this, and they knew the talismans, and they knew the thing, and but they didn't have any power, and they were low-level priests at best. I mean, everybody does whatever they want, and they had huge egos about it. And in one case, one guy was so frightened of me that he would not let me walk into his temple. He was so frightened of me. And at the same time, all the judgment that comes from that. But, you can see the projection in that. So I guess I want you to appreciate what you're being exposed to. We're working directly with the Ascended Masters. And the power that they have is literally out of this world. So I hope you're understanding that and appreciating it. The meditation we did last night, I don't know how many humans have the privilege of being able to experience what we experienced. Anyway, so that was the 3 Dantians thing. So something else happened which was very interesting for me. This has happened to me numerous times. This has happened to me especially when I get summoned to go astrally and communicate with councils. So there will be extremely powerful beings in much higher dimensions, and they run these councils. They have different names. There's Council of 9. I remember the Council of 3, maybe the Council of 5, Council of 13, but definitely the Council of 9 is one that I've experienced. And I'm not the only one. Other people have talked about the Council of 9. And there have been times where I'm called before them, and of course, I don't see things. I'm not having like a full-on vision. So if you're frustrated because you don't see things in Panavision, perfect, 4K or whatever the hell it is. Neither do I. It's my human brain is doing its best to interpret what my astral body is experiencing. Now there's a direct energetic connection. My body feels the power of it. And telepathically, I'm able to communicate most of the time. But in terms of seeing it, I have to guess at what I'm seeing because it's in other dimensions. So I'm getting to what happened later in the meditation. So this happens a lot, and I've noticed that what will happen is they will be, like if I'm summoned before the council, they'll be off to my right, sitting in some kind of a table. There's all these light beings there. And I'm like looking, and every time I look, they move. So it's like if it's right here and I look, so looking at it won't help. So I have to do this thing where I look forward, and with my energy, I grab onto it and I pull it so that it's right in front of me. And I believe that has to do with dimensional, because remember, in the third dimension, we only have up, down, right, and left. If there's a whole other direction, when we look in the third dimension, we're not going to see it. It's going to move. We're going to experience it as moving with us. So I think what's happening is that I'm actually taking my energy and I'm shifting myself into that other dimensional direction. That's the best guess I have. So that kind of thing happened in this meditation. So what happened was, after we did this, and then I became aware that the upper dantian was sending energy up through my pineal, which was going up and then hitting this mirror and bouncing not up and not out, but up and out. And I realized that's the fourth dimensional direction. And my third dimensional mind is trying to figure that out. And so then what happened was, again, in the beginning, remember, they were all in a horizontal line. So that happened. If I remember correctly, the three, they then shifted horizontally like that. And the heart, the middle dantian was the fulcrum. And so I had to do this thing where I grabbed onto that and shifted myself. Now, it looks to me like I'm pulling it upright, when in reality, I'm pulling myself sideways. I'm grabbing it, pulling myself like this, and then what ended up happening is the entire dimension, which I experience as our third dimension, shifted and clicked into it. I've done this before. This has happened before, where I've had to do this. And the thing is, again, our third dimensional experience, understand, is it's just a perception. This isn't really here. This is a perception. This is an icon on a desktop. This is an icon on a desktop. Everything here is an icon. I'm an icon. You're an icon on a desktop computer. It's just for show. It's not what's really there. So just because the third dimensional screen boots up and you see things in a certain way, it doesn't mean it's the same. You could have a completely different operating system under there. And so that's what's happening, is that when these kinds of things happen, where we go and the thing shifts and we have to grab it and pull it and lock it into place, what's happening is we are redesigning the entire hard drive. Now, we only have the ability to then experience it in our normal the desktop appearance doesn't change, but it doesn't mean that we're in the same operating system. And that's what happened. So when that happened in the meditation, and the three dantians, or the three ones, then went horizontal, and then I knew that I had to grab it and turn myself sideways, and then the entire dimension had to shift itself and lock into place, and then everything was right side up again. When that happened, the whole multiverse erupted in cheers and clapping and celebrating. The light beings were going bonkers. That we had done something that had absolutely just, I came across, in some research, I came across something I really appreciated, which was that the original Taoists had two major functions. We're talking thousands and thousands of years ago. And their two major functions were to hunt down demons, and the other one was to repair the fabric of reality. And so what we experienced last night was that. We were altering, repairing, optimizing, evolving the fabric of reality. And the light beings were responding to that. And again, I've been told over and over again by the light beings that they can't do what we do in these meditations. Why that is, we can ask them, and of course they'll tell us that we're the gods. They are our helpers, our servants. We're the gods because we had the power to be able to come and incarnate into this third dimensional world. So the ironic part is, here we are in this limited third dimensional desktop version, but we have the power astrally to go out and change the fabric of reality. So apparently we did that. And I remember hearing something along the lines in the meditation that nothing will ever be the same. And repeatedly they said, watch what happens now. Nothing is ever going to be the same. Watch what happens. And the energy that I felt was just, never felt anything like it. And then I don't remember much else. Please put in the comments what you remember. I ended the live stream, and then after we ended the live stream, I don't really remember what happened. I'm pretty sure I kept communicating. I'm pretty sure that I went back into a meditative state and communicated with them. I definitely feel a stronger connection. I feel their connection to me more. There's more light beings in direct astral and telepathic communication with me. And again, I have to keep reminding myself that intense energy that I feel, which my body responds to with feeling anxious, is actually just higher frequency energy, and I have to remind myself of that even to this day. So there it is. That's what I remember. So again, I believe that the practices that I've been learning for 30 years, I've been taught those because it's my job to share this with people now. People are now ready for this. People weren't ready for this. The Grand Master, before he passed away, somebody asked him, said, have you taught this practice to everybody? And he said, no, I haven't taught the whole thing to anybody. And he said, they couldn't handle it. This generation cannot handle it. Now, he's talking about the previous generation. He's not talking about now. He died just before we started having the shift that we're having now. And I'm here to tell you that human beings are now able to handle it. And in fact, this is the way to shift. So I'm here to share with you my practices, which I do. So I'll go through it again very quickly. Go to thunderwizard.com. And if you're a beginner, go to thunderwizard.com, click on shop. The bottom there, Mao Shan Summoning the Immortals Moving Qigong. That will give you access to the energy. I want you to feel it so you know that I'm not making it up. I'm telling you the truth. Feel that energy. If you feel it and you want more, then what you do, you go back to the shop, you click on Celestial Qigong, the foundation of Mao Shan energy work. That is very basic, simple postures and movements that will open up that higher dimensional energy in the middle dantian. And then we have the 5 element spirit fighting sets: wood, metal, fire, water, earth. And you see those. That is the next level if you want to get to the next level of the Mao Shan spirit fighting. We've got also here the Patreon site, which is membership. So you go to thunderwizard.com, click on memberships, and subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. That is for brand new beginners, and what that'll do is that'll open up your Kundalini, that will open up your Qi meridians, and it will open up the Shi, heart-mind meridians, which has never been revealed to the world before. And this will give you the power to be able to handle everything that we're experiencing. And then I recommend the next level is to open up we're right now in phase 1. According to the light beings, we are in phase 1 of a complete dimensional shift, frequency shift for planet Earth. Planet Earth is shifting on her own now. We actually got that started over the past few years. We did that in these meditations. She's now undergoing her own rebirth and transformation. And so in order to connect with that, we have to have I'm touching my navel, lower dantian shift up to a higher frequency, which is the earth. The earth element needs to go up to a frequency it's never been before. So the way we do that is we go to Maoshan.thunderwizard.com, you will see this Dark Warrior of the North, Tortoise and Snake, Maoshan Martial Qigong form. You've seen me do the last part of it where we gather yin and yang. And you can get that by going to thunderwizard.com, clicking on shop, and get it there. You can get it cheaper here at maoshan.thunderwizard.com. Now, that is for everybody. No matter what level you're at, everybody, I recommend doing the Xuan Wu form, the Dark Warrior of the North. I could go into all the details, but I'm telling you that being will be able to shift your Dantian, your lower Dantian, to a place where you'll be able to see, experience, and create a new reality for yourself. So now we need to go even further if we want to get even more power. So we need to take the lower Dantian to the level where we rule, control, and create the universe. That is what the navel has the power to do, the lower Dantian. So for that, we go to maoshan.thunderwizard.com, and you will see the Hands of Infinity. It's also called, I've called it also the first spirit fighting set. That will give you immense power. And this is what we all need to become the gods who create the new world. Later, soon, I will reveal the middle Dantian practice and the upper Dantian practice. This will take you to even higher levels of deity power. And this is what human beings are now, we are destined to become. We are destined to become, instead of shifting out of this body and going up and becoming a light being, ascended master, we are going to be in our physical bodies, and we are going to shift up to the power of light being ascended masters while in our physical body. We very likely might shift up to a higher frequency above this earth frequency, or we're going to pull down higher dimensional energies and transform it. Either way, no matter how you look at it, that's what's going to happen. These are the practices for the people who have been called to become the guardian protectors of Earth. This is what the light beings have shown me. Believe me or don't believe me, all you have to do is prove me wrong by doing any of these practices. You will find out if I'm making it up or not. So if you are called to this, that's where you can go. If you have a question about any of it, you can put it in the comments. I read all the comments, and I respond to the ones that I like and that are respectful. My friends, I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves. I hope you have everything that you most deeply desire. That's it. Take care. See you soon.